Imagine one day you discover a mysterious door that connects to another world, where any items or skills you acquire can be brought back into the real world. The story begins with a girl being harassed by some men. A boy named Yuya tries to step in, but the men mock him, calling him fat and ugly, then beat him up. Eventually, the police arrive, and the men run off. The girl thanks Yuya for helping her, but he says he's fine and walks away. We learn that Yuya was raised by his grandfather, who taught him to always be kind and help those in need. When Yuya gets home, we see his house covered in cruel graffiti. Ever since he was young, he's been bullied by everyone. His own parents mistreated him because his siblings were considered attractive, while he was not. As he entered middle school, things got worse. He was constantly beaten at school. Only his grandfather truly cared for him, always reminding him that kindness would eventually bring happiness. After his grandfather died, Yuya inherited his house and savings. His parents tried to contest the will but failed, so Yuya was left with everything, and his parents completely abandoned him. Now he lives alone, working part-time to survive. At school, Yuya is graduating from middle school, but his yearbook is filled with cruel comments. As he tries to leave, his bullies stop him again, telling him he's still their errand boy, even after graduation. Yuya tells them he has to get to his job, but they beat him up again. His brother and sister stand nearby, just watching. When Yuya finally gets to work, his boss, frustrated with his tardiness, fires him. Back home, Yuya eats a depressing meal alone. Looking at himself in the mirror, he breaks down and smashes it, feeling like nothing will ever change, not even after graduation. In frustration, he punches the wall, and it suddenly opens, revealing a hidden room. Inside, he finds strange artifacts, thinking they must be souvenirs from his grandfather's travels. He discovers a peculiar door, and when he opens it, it leads to a mysterious room. Yuya gets scared as a notification appears. He reads it and learns that the door connects to another world. A series of messages explain the features available to him, like item storage and access control. Though confused, he feels like it's similar to a game. So he checks his status. He's devastated to see all his stats are incredibly low. As he explores the room and looks outside, he confirms it really is another world. He finds a note on the table that he can't initially read, but a language skill activates, helping him understand it. The note reveals the house once belonged to a powerful sage, who, before dying, left it and its contents to whoever found it. The house is protected by magic, so only the rightful owner can enter. Yuya finds a collection of powerful weapons inside the house. He examines them and realizes they're incredibly dangerous, high-level items. He steps outside and begins swinging a sword around. Though he falls, he manages to learn a basic sword skill. Thinking it might be useful, he trains more with the weapons and gains various skills. Despite the new skills, his level remains at 1, and he wonders how to level up. After putting the weapons into storage, a monster suddenly appears. Yuya is terrified, but realizes the house is magically protected. The monster is a level 300 bloody ogre and tries to smash through the barrier. It grabs a tree to break in, but fails. Yuya decides to fight back and throws a spear, which pierces through the monster and kills it instantly. The spear returns to him, and the monster disappears, dropping several items. Yuya's level suddenly jumps to 100, and he's stunned by his new stats. After assigning his points, he decides to wrap up for the day. As he exits, he sees a cash-out option. It converts the monster's loot into real-world money. Although surprised, Yuya happily accepts. Later that night, Yuya undergoes a drastic transformation. His body completely changes. When he wakes up, he realizes his physique is different, and his clothes no longer fit. With the mirror still broken, he searches for new clothes. In the sage's house, he finds magical clothing that adjusts in size and provides powerful bonuses. Yuya begins to wonder just who the sage really was, and what lies ahead in this new world. As he looks around the garden, he is suddenly attacked by a level 200 sly monster. But this time Yuya calmly brings out his spear and easily destroys the monster. It drops some coffee slime and even a rare necklace, which has the ability to restore his magic power. He levels up again, gaining a presence detection skill, and he is already at level 150. He tries some of the coffee slime, and it's actually quite good. He decides to use some of the money he has made to buy a new uniform, ordering it to be ready for the start of high school. After that, he spends every day in the other world, and he starts to enjoy himself, even forgetting his depression. He would train and learn as much as possible about the other world. An elite goblin attacks his house, but Yuya has become completely different, skillfully fighting against it, and even using a skill to destroy the goblin. Time flies, and the start of high school arrives, and everyone is immediately drawn to him. Even his siblings seem to be in awe. In class, he is approached by his bullies, but they don't recognize him, thinking he is a transfer student. When he tells them he is Yuya, everyone is shocked, and they don't believe him. When he goes to the bathroom, he is completely shocked to see himself for the first time since his transformation. After class, he is approached by his brother and sister, wondering what he did to change so drastically, calling him a loser. But suddenly, a limo stops, and the girl he saved is looking for him. He wonders who she is, and she reminds him how he saved her. Yuya wonders how she knows his name. She admits she looked into him because she wanted to thank him, and she introduces herself as Kaori. She wonders if he would like to join the Jose Academy, and Yuya recognizes it as an academy for the super elite. We learn that Kaori is on the student council, and her father is the chairman of the academy. Yuya is flattered by the offer, but thinks he isn't smart enough to join such an academy. His brother interrupts, asking to join the academy and saying that they are superior to Yuya in both academics and sports. But Kaori refuses because they are insulting Yuya when he is their hero. She reveals that she has already looked into them and knows all about their nefarious behavior against Yuya. She goes on to tell Yuya that their academy emphasizes personality rather than just academics, so it would be no problem for him to enroll. Her attendant suggests showing him the academy, so she pulls him away and they head off while his siblings can't believe what happened. They arrive at the academy, and it's a famous school filled with students that excel. He meets with the chairman, Tsukasa, who thanks him for saving his daughter. Yuya says it wasn't a big deal, but Kaori says he was the only one that helped her. Tsukasa invites him to join the school, even offering to pay his tuition, as thanks for helping his daughter. But Yuya is hesitant, thinking he won't fit in because only geniuses are normally accepted. Tsukasa says that geniuses are just normal people that have found the right way to work hard and use less time. But Yuya thinks they are gifted with talent. Tsukasa tells him that everyone has their own talents, and through challenges and having fun, he will eventually learn what his talents are, saying that he is still young. He suggests Yuya try out the school for a day. A teacher named Sawada enters, and Tsukasa introduces her as a renowned scientist, but her classes are popular and easy to understand. Yuya prepares for his first class and worries he is in over his head, but he thinks that things couldn't be worse than in his normal school. He gets called in and introduces himself, but all the students appear stunned. He worries about what they think of him, but they are all actually stunned by how handsome he looks. He takes a seat at the back and shares a book with the girl next to him, but she is a bit cold toward him, and he worries that she already hates him. Kaori wonders if Yuya will fit in his class. As the class goes on, he actually finds the class pretty normal, except the students are much more active and engaged. During their break, a bunch of students tried to get to know him, asking questions like if he is an idol and if he has a girlfriend. A student named Rio stops them from harassing him, and he takes Yuya to the cafeteria to get some lunch. Yuya is amazed seeing the menu, and it's all free, so Yuya thinks it's like a dream. They sit with another student named Shingo. They start talking about anime, and Yuya is surprised they are just like him. As he eats, he notices that everyone is looking at him, and he thinks it's because he is wearing a different uniform. Shingo asks him if he is in any clubs, but Yuya says he is not a part of any. Rio is also not in a club, but it's because he is good at all kinds of sports, and has trouble picking just one. Shingo reveals he is part of the gaming club, and Yuya is surprised that they are allowed consoles at school. But Shingo says it's fine, as long as they don't play during class. As they talk about video games, Yuya becomes more comfortable with them. At the end of the day, Yuya meets with Tsukasa and admits that he had a good time, deciding that he wants to join the school. As he leaves the room, he runs into Kaori, who wonders if he has decided to join. He shares his decision, and Kaori is happy that he decided to stay. She invites him to join her after school, and they check out some shops in a popular area. Yuya wonders if this is where she typically hangs out with her friends, but she reveals that she doesn't often hang out because people seem hesitant due to her family and father. However, she adds that he is different. Yuya feels nervous. Kaori suggests they try the crepe shop, and as Yuya looks at the prices, he's glad he's been earning money from the other world. They enjoy the crepes and have a good time, with Yuya eager to try the other flavors. But then he worries that eating too much might cause him to return to his original shape. Yuya asks Kaori how she recognized him despite his different appearance, and she says that although he's slimmer, his eyes still look the same. She offers him a bite of her crepe since he wanted to try other flavors, and though embarrassed, he accepts. Kaori realizes how he's feeling, and he nervously offers her a bite. She hesitates, but accepts. And as they share the crepes, some girls watch, thinking they're adorable together. Later that night, Yuya decides to return to the other world, donning his full armor. He heads inside, facing monsters that appear. Though still frightened, he manages to defeat them and notices he's leveled up to 235. However, he realizes that his leveling speed has slowed down, and he contemplates leaving his house to find stronger monsters. Thinking back on his time at the academy, Yuya yearns for a new challenge. As he leaves his gate, he suddenly hears a scream. He grabs his spear and rushes toward the sound, finding soldiers brutally killed. He spots a level 200 goblin general and realizes it's dangerous. A girl appears behind it, and Yuya throws his spear at the goblin, but it deflects. In that moment, Yuya crashes down with his foot, defeating the goblin. He turns to the girl, but she calls out to him, warning him of another goblin behind him. The new goblin knocks him away, and Yuya senses that it's both stronger and faster than him. However, he doesn't give up, thinking he has other strengths. He uses his spear to vault over the goblin, switching to his bow and launching a barrage of arrows. He then switches to his sword and splits the goblin in half. Yuya checks on the girl, wondering about the other humans in this world, but she faints. Hearing men approaching, he uses his invisibility skill to avoid them. A group of knights arrives, looking for the girl. We learn that she is a princess named Alexia. Back at his house, Yuya reflects on the encounter, thinking the girl should be okay since the knights appeared to help her. He looks at his shirt and decides that since he's earned money in the other world, he should buy new clothes. Yuya walks around the town, attracting attention as people stare at him, thinking he must be a model or actor. His enchanted shirt stays clean, but he decides to buy some new clothes so he doesn't always look the same. Meanwhile, a director is angrily yelling at a man, the manager of a model named Sho, who hasn't arrived for their photo shoot. The manager gets a call from Sho, who says he's on his way, but the director is upset that Sho is wasting everyone's time, especially Miu, the other model, who's been waiting all morning. The director, frustrated with the delay, decides to search for a replacement within the mall. While Yuya shops, he's overwhelmed by the number of choices. A group of girls approaches him, and he worries they're using a sales tactic. They ask about him and offer to help him shop. Not wanting to offend them, Yuya politely declines. The girls are left stunned, and they start whispering about him. Yuya wonders if he handled the situation well. The director struggles to find a replacement, but tells his assistant they can't give up. They spot Yuya, and the director instantly thinks he might be the one. Yuya is approached, and the director explains their situation to him. Though nervous, Yuya considers the people who are counting on him and agrees to be their model. He acts as the boyfriend for their photo shoot, posing in various outfits and positions. The director tells him to look sexier, but Yuya struggles with the direction. However, Miu reassures him, saying he's doing well for his first time. Yuya is captivated by her looks. She thanks him for saving them, but Yuya notices she is getting closer to him. The director points out that Yuya is looking a bit stiff. They move to their next location, and Yuya is impressed with Miu's professionalism, even though they are around the same age. He is determined to give it his best. However, Miu grabs onto him for the next shot, and Yuya panics as she presses up against him. The director tells her to get even closer, so she wraps her arms around him and presses in even more, making Yuya even more embarrassed as the crowd begins to watch. Meanwhile, in the other world, Princess Lexia reflects on how she was saved. She decides to leave, and her knight asks where she is going. She says she's heading back to the dark forest to find the person who saved her. Her knight says it's impossible for anyone to be living in that forest, but Lexia insists that she was saved by someone and must thank them. The knight warns her about the dangers of going back, but she tells them they're all going with her this time. Back at the mall, the shoot is over, and Yuya is exhausted. Miu thanks him again, but Yuya suddenly chokes on his drink. Miu offers him her handkerchief, but Yuya hesitates because he's sweaty and doesn't want to use his sleeve either, since the clothes aren't his. Yuya reflects on his experience modeling, thinking Miu is amazing at it, but Miu says she's just gotten used to it, mentioning how she used to make a lot of mistakes when she was still male. Yuya thinks about his first time wearing such fashionable clothes, as he never had the chance before. He wonders why Miu started modeling. and she explains it was to get noticed, since her parents were always too busy to spend time with her. She continues, saying that after she started gaining fans, she kept going because it brought happiness to people. She tells him he can also do it, advising him to take things at his own pace and enjoy the moments along the way. While they chat, the director takes candid photos of them. Just then, Sho arrives, and the crowd gets excited. He approaches Miyu, saying they can continue the shoot. Sho pushes Miyu against the wall, wanting to ask her out for drinks, but Yuya notices she's uncomfortable. He interrupts, and Sho wonders who Yuya is. Sho tries to punch Yuya, but Yuya easily throws him away. Everyone is shocked, and Yuya worries about causing a scene. He thinks he might be in trouble for beating up such a good-looking guy, but the crowd cheers for him, thinking he looks cool. Sho wonders how he lost, even though he does boxing, and the director tells him to leave since they caught everything on 4K. Sho runs off. Miyu thanks Yuya for his help, revealing that Sho had been following her around, and she didn't know how to handle it. The director comments that Sho's behavior has always been bad, and with this incident, he's unlikely to work again. The director asks if Yuya is interested in more modeling, but Yuya thanks him for the opportunity and says he isn't good enough for the job, so he turns them down. The director respects his decision and offers Yuya all the clothes from the shoot as thanks, since they couldn't pay him as he's just an amateur. Yuya thinks the experience was enough, but the director insists it's only natural to be compensated for his work, especially since he saved them, so Yuya accepts. Miyu hopes to work with him again in the future, and they wish him good luck. Later, the director reflects on how it's a shame Yuya didn't want to continue, knowing he would have become a star. Looking at the photos, Miyu notices how different Yuya appeared, and the director teases her about adding a note for him. Yuya organizes his wardrobe and packs up his new clothes. His photo circulates, and agencies begin to wonder who he could be. A woman who is desperate to sign him orders her associate to find him before anyone else does. She's determined not to let him slip away, impressed by how Yuya stood up to Miyu, even though he's just an amateur. Meanwhile, in the other world, Lexia's knights are struggling against some goblins when a goblin appears behind her. However, Yuya steps in and easily slays the goblins. Lexia is relieved to see him, and Yuya finishes off the goblins. He tends to one of the knights, and Lexia approaches him, saying she came to the Dark Forest to tell him something. Yuya wonders what she wants, and Lexia suddenly asks him if he will marry her, leaving everyone in shock. Her knight is taken aback, reminding her of her position as a princess, and that they know nothing about Yuya. Lexia insists it's love at first sight. The two begin to argue, but Yuya interrupts, saying it's dangerous in the forest. He invites them back to his house, surprising them with the revelation that he actually lives in the forest. They are amazed by his house, and the knight introduces himself as the captain of the Arzelia Knights, introducing Lexia as the first princess of Arzelia, and mentioning that she is second in line for the throne. She thanks him for saving them once again, and Yuya begins to worry about his behavior after learning she's a princess. However, they reassure him not to worry since it's not an official visit, and he is their savior. Yuya introduces himself, but they find his name strange and assume he might be from another country. Lexia imagines he could be royalty from another nation, but Owen is concerned about other possibilities. Alan reveals that they are there to look for him because when he saved Lexia, she didn't have the chance to thank him properly. She says she's been thinking about him ever since that day, and this is the first time she's ever felt this way, asking him to marry her. Yuya is overwhelmed by the sudden proposal, causing the princess to wonder if love can be this simple. She believes love needs obstacles, like the romances she's read about, or it would be boring. So she proposes they start as friends. Yuya, recalling his past experiences, nervously agrees to be her friend. Owen mentions they have another reason for being there. The king would like him to visit the royal palace to offer his gratitude in person. Yuya is hesitant, but Owen insists it's a royal command, and Yuya has no choice but to accept. Alan mentions it will take about 5 days, including travel, but Yuya worries it will interfere with his new school. He asks to delay, but Owen assures him they'll wait as long as needed. As they take their leave, Lexia tells him to prepare himself, because she plans to win his heart the next time they meet in the royal capital. Meanwhile, a man reports the failed assassination attempt on Lexia. A masked figure reveals that the assassins were sent after her but ended up in the Dark Forest, where they were killed by monsters. He wonders how Lexia managed to return unarmed, and warns his men not to fail again. The man removes his mask, revealing a disfigured face. It's revealed he's part of the royal family, swearing revenge on Lexia. Back at Yuya's house, he marks his calendar for the king's visit and puts on his new uniform to begin his first day at the academy. As he walks through the school, everyone stares at him, thinking he must be a famous model. The director greets him but apologizes for not having time to talk, reminding Yuya to enjoy his time at school. Yuya is introduced to the class as an official student, and we see Ryo and Shingo, who are happy to see him. During a soccer game, a student named Roy scores a goal, and all the girls cheer for him. Yui watches from the sidelines, impressed by his skill. Roy is approached by a girl named Kaid, who wonders why he isn't playing, but Yuya replies he doesn't have his gym clothes yet. Roy faces off against the opposing team, tricking them by passing the ball to Akira, who rushes toward the goal. However, Akira messes up, kicking the ball at Kaid. Yuya manages to stop the ball and even scores a goal in the process, leaving everyone shocked at how quickly he moved. He checks if Kaid is okay, and she is left stunned by his reflexes. Akira rushes to apologize, swearing to become her servant, but Kaid turns him down. Real vouches for Akira, explaining that he's just a bit quirky, and Akira thanks Yuya for saving both of them. Later, Kaid tells Cory about everything that happened, and the girls speculate that Yuya must have a girlfriend, given how cool he is. However, Cory and Kaid insist nothing has been confirmed. In his next class, Yuya waves to Cory on the field, when suddenly, a group of delinquents on motorbikes bursts in. They surround the girls, swinging bats. Students recognize them as the Red Ogres, the most dangerous delinquent group in the area. Yuya recognizes his siblings in the group. Cory wonders what they're doing at the school, and Yuya's brother Yoda points her out as the director's daughter. They say they're there to get back at her for looking down on them and accepting Yuya into the academy. Cory warns them that the police are coming, but Yuya's sister Sarah thinks they have time to abduct her as payback. Yuya wants to save her but finds himself frozen, his legs shaking. Despite having faced much stronger opponents in the other world, he's emotionally affected by facing his old bullies. His friends worry about him as he panics, but he snaps himself out of it. He opens the window and jumps out, shocking everyone as they're on the 4th floor. Yuya lands unscathed, charging in to confront his old bully, Iraki, who orders his boys to attack. Yuya dodges all their attacks and disarms them instantly. Iraki tries to attack, but Yuya runs past him to focus on saving Kari. He's stopped by a huge guy named Amore, but Yuya doesn't budge and tosses him aside. Yuya checks on Kari to make sure she's okay, but the gang boss charges at him. Yuya dodges, and the boss crashes his bike after losing control. The police arrive, arresting the delinquents, and the students are told to return to class. Yuya ensures Kaori is alright, and she suddenly weakens, but Yuya catches her. Meanwhile, Yuya's brother Yoda thinks the Red Ogres were useless, but is choked by the boss, who blames him for their defeat. Sora begs for Yoda, but the boss kicks her away. Yoda is choked further, but Yuya intervenes, breaking them up. Yoda thanks him. The boss charges at Yuya, but Yuya scares him off with a fierce look. The students wonder what happened, but everything settles down. Yoda wonders why Yuya saved him, and Yuya explains that even though they've been terrible, they're still his family, so he couldn't abandon them. Yoda, moved to tears, apologizes for everything they've done. He's joined by his friends, who are amazed by Yuya's actions. Yuya later plans to explore the other world, but remembers Owen's warning about the Dark Forest, a dangerous place filled with monsters powerful enough to destroy a city. He wanders deeper into the forest, searching for stronger monsters when he hears a cry and finds a puppy being attacked by an orc. The puppy glows with dark energy, but is too weak to fight. Yuya initially thinks he has no chance against the orc, which is a level 600 orc king with over 20,000 attack power, and considers giving up on saving the puppy. But the orc continues to attack the puppy, and Yuya can't bring himself to walk away. Thinking about his grandfather's courage, he decides to intervene. He charges at the orc and defeats it with a single blow, feeling embarrassed that it was so easy but reflecting on his previous battles. Yuya checks on the puppy, which growls at him, but after offering a potion, the puppy passes out. He treats it and starts to gain its trust. The puppy, alone with nowhere to go, accepts Yuya's offer to take it in. Yuya gains the taming skill, and the puppy becomes his new companion. Yuya names the puppy Knight, impressed by its level 500 Black Fenrir stats. They return to Yuya's house, where he examines the items dropped by the Orc King. An S-ranked magic stone, a sword, and armor that can't be used by humans but can be reforged. He also finds a rare brush that stimulates hair growth and uses it to groom Knight. Yuya then checks his own stats, still at level 235. He finds it strange that he didn't level up even after defeating a level 600 monster. However, he thinks he will eventually figure out the leveling system. Back in the real world, he leaves Knight at home as he heads off to school, and asks his friends if there are any pet shops nearby, revealing that he just adopted a dog. Kaede gets excited and asks to see pictures, but Yuya becomes nervous with her getting so close. He apologizes, explaining that he doesn't have any pictures because he doesn't own a smartphone. His friends find it a bit weird, but he just says he never really needed one. They tell him about a nearby pet shop, but can't go with him after school, though Kate offers to take him. Yuya thanks her for helping, but she starts thinking it could be like a date. She tells him not to worry about it. When he gets home, Knight rushes to him, and Yuya shows him the items Kaede helped him pick out from the shop. He gives Knight a new collar, and decides they should go for a walk. They head to the park, but everyone stares at him, thinking he looks cool and that Knight is adorable. He runs into Kari and introduces Knight to her. She starts petting him and finds him adorable, while onlookers think they make a perfect couple. Kori asks about Knight's breed, but Yuya pretends not to know, as he can't say it's a Fenrir. Kori, however, can tell Knight is super smart, and is happy that Yuya adopted him. A girl calls out to Yuya, and it turns out to be Miu, the model he worked with. She also lives in the area and comes to the park to walk. Yuya introduces the girls, and people are amazed to see him with another beautiful girl. They start drawing more attention as people recognize Miu. Not wanting to cause a scene, Miu decides to leave, but looks forward to running into Yuya again. After she leaves, Kari wonders if Miu is his girlfriend, but Yuya is shocked and says that he's only met her once before, and that she would be too good for him. Kori disagrees with him. Suddenly, a woman screams as a man runs away with her purse. Kori wonders what they should do, and Yuya tells Knight to go after the man. They check on the old lady, and soon Knight returns, dragging the man back. Yuya tells Kari to call the police, but the man breaks free and charges at her. Yuya gets in the way, easily disarming and restraining him. The crowd cheers for him, thinking he is so cool, and Kari thanks him for saving her once again. They hand the man over to the police, and Yuya heads home. Yuya continues to explore deeper into the dark forest with Knight. They encounter countless monsters, including another orc king. This time, Knight shows off his skills, biting its neck and taking it out all by himself. As they continue, they come across a crystal deer, which is at level 630. Yuya observes it while invisible, and notices its impressive magic stat. He wonders how to approach it, but the deer suddenly detects him, even through his invisibility. It charges at them, so they split up. Knight tries to attack, but the deer uses magic to create explosions for defense. It charges up another attack and fires a blast of water at Yuya, but he manages to dodge it. Yuya decides they need to work together, so he tells Knight to create an opening. Knight jumps around the deer with its speed, but the deer retaliates with its magic, causing countless explosions. However, Knight manages to land a hit, and Yuya takes the chance to finish it off. He checks the item drops, and finds a box that catches his attention. Upon examining it, he discovers it's a portable bath set that automatically stays clean and even has a privacy feature to stop people from looking in. Yuya is amazed to find such an item and decides to try it out. It has multiple settings to choose from, but since it's too dangerous to use in the middle of the forest, he decides to return to his house for the night. He enjoys a relaxing bath with Knight. The next day, they fight a needle roller, which has exceptional speed. Yuya struggles at first, but manages to predict its movements and dodge its attack, causing it to get stuck in a wall. He takes it out and finally levels up to 240, while Knight reaches level 510. Suddenly, the wall cracks where the monster had crashed into it, revealing a cave. They decide to check it out, and Yuya scans for enemies, but finds no signs of monsters. The cave suddenly lights up as they reach a larger room. Yuya is shocked to find a body, but Knight points out a book on the floor. Yuya checks it out and realizes it's the Book of the Sage. As Yuya reads the book, he learns that the sage mastered every skill and became as powerful as a god. The gods even asked him to join them, but he declined their invitation. The book starts speaking to Yuya, warning him that as he gets stronger, people around him may begin to fear him. Yuya wonders how to prevent this, and the voice of the sage tells him to find people he can trust. The sage asks if there's anything Yuya would like to know, and Yuya asks to learn magic. The sage fills the book with all of his knowledge about magic, but notes that Yuya can't use magic because he lacks magical circuits in his body, as he's from another world. However, the sage decides to pass on his own magical circuits to Yuya, and tells him to find happiness and live a good life. Yuya returns home and starts learning how to use magic from the book. He begins by sensing the magical energy around him and learns the magic energy manipulation skill. He discovers that all he needs to do is gather magical energy in his hand and imagine the magic he wants to use. He goes outside to try it out, imagining a ball of water. It turns out to be ridiculously strong, blowing straight through a tree. Meanwhile, at the royal castle, Alan reports to the king about Yuya. When he mentions that the princess proposed to him, the king becomes furious, thinking that Yuya seduced his daughter. Back at school, Yuya daydreams about the sage's warning about using magic, as the techniques he's learning are not commonly known, even in the other world. The teacher reminds the class that they will be going camping next week, and sorts them into groups of 4. Yuya is put in a group with Kaede, Akira, and a girl named Rin. Kaede is excited about the trip, but Yuya mentions he doesn't have any camping equipment. Kaede suggests they go shopping, and they head to the mall, where Shingo is surprised to see Kari joining them. Ryo can't believe Yuya is friends with Kari, since most people find her unapproachable because she's the director's daughter. Yuya wonders where Akira is, and Shingo mentions he couldn't make it. They head inside, and the group helps Yuya pick out a backpack. They decide to hang out and end up at an arcade. Shingo gets excited seeing his favorite character in a crane game, but says he's terrible at it. Yuya decides to give it a try and uses his detect weakness skill to find the weak spot. He wins the figure in a single try. Kaede asks him to win her a cat, and he uses his skill again, easily winning it for her. He ends up winning prizes for all his friends, and Cory says it was her first time at an arcade, thanking him for his gift. The girls decide to do some shopping for clothes, so the guys have a break and go to the cafe for a drink. Yuya reflects on how much fun he had hanging out with friends for the first time. Suddenly, an alarm rings, and they are told to evacuate due to a fire. Yuya worries about the girls, thinking the fire might be closer to them. They reach the staircase, and Yuya asks a man if he has seen his friends. Ryo gets a call from Kaede, who tells them they are still stuck upstairs. Yuya rushes up, thinking about his friends. He reaches the source of the fire, but the sprinklers aren't enough to put it out. Yuya decides it's time to use his magic. He covers his body with a layer of water, allowing him to run right through the flames. He finds the girls unconscious from the smoke, and rushes to them. Yuya uses his detection skill to scan the building and sees that they are the only ones left. He covers them with his magic, but the fire surges, and he worries they won't make it out. Meanwhile, Ryo and Shingo watch from outside, telling the officers that their friends are still inside, but there's nothing they can do until the fire is out. Yuya runs around looking for an exit, but the roof collapses as he dodges. Kari drops the gift he gave her. Yuya reaches a dead end and realizes there's no way out, so he uses his magic to break through the building. The structure shakes, but Yuya manages to escape with the girls, who are treated afterward. The firefighters reprimand him for his recklessness, and Cory's father arrives, thanking him for saving his daughter once again. Yuya returns the honor pin he picked up, and Cory hugs her father. Yuya reflects on what it means to have a family, feeling he doesn't truly have one, but when he gets home, Knight rushes to him, making him realize that Knight is his family. He wonders what else he can do with his magic, remembering that it is the materialization of his imagination. He focuses on traveling, opening a portal to a dark forest. Yuya is excited, though it seems the magic only works for places he's been before. Yuya thinks he could use it to get home and feed Knight. Later during a school trip, he and Knight explore a cave filled with goblins. Using his legendary sword, Yuya easily defeats them, and they find many rare items, which he stores using his skill. He believes his teamwork with Knight is improving, but when they leave the cave, Knight runs off. Yuya follows and uses his invisibility skill to stay cautious. He encounters an injured girl surrounded by goblins. Yuya tries to save her, but Knight pulls him back just in time to avoid the elite goblin's attack. The girl defends herself using threads, but is knocked out. Yuya emerges with Knight, and together they take out the goblins. However, more goblins appear, so Yuya uses his Divine Whip to bind and crush them all in one attack. He realizes how overpowered the whip is, as it can attack multiple targets and never misses. Afterward, Yuya considers what to do with the girl, eventually deciding not to take her home, despite Knight's objection. The girl wakes up, surprised that Yuya is carrying her, and falls to the ground when he puts her down. Yuya offers her healing juice, which instantly heals her injuries. She introduces herself as Luna, explaining she was training in the forest when the goblins attacked. Yuya tells her he was also training, and she is surprised since he carried her to safety. Luna apologizes for being filthy, but Yuya reassures her. She asks if there's a river nearby to clean up, and Yuya reveals his portable bath. She's amazed by the rare item, and Yuya explains how he got it from a crystal deer. Luna reveals that she's there on a client's request, and asks Yuya to train with her. Although initially hesitant, Yuya agrees, and they train together, improving their skills. Yuya compliments Luna for defeating an elite goblin with her threads, but she feels she still has much to learn. She needs to grow stronger to complete her mission. Yuya explains he has to go, mentioning a school trip, though she doesn't understand, so he apologizes. She thanks him for his help, and after their final day of training, Luna joins Yuya in the bath. Yuya is embarrassed, but Luna expresses how much their time together meant to her, offering to wash his back. Just then, her towel drops, causing Yuya to blush. On his school trip, Yuya plays cards with his friends, and Kaede notices he's tired. Yuya admits he didn't sleep much the previous night and wins the game 5 times in a row. He realizes his luck stat might be the reason for his repeated victories. After taking a nap, he's woken up as they arrive at their destination. The teacher explains they'll be camping for 2 days, foraging for food, with a competition between classes. Yuya's group is assigned to fish, but the water is shallow. Using his detection skill, Yuya finds a better spot and catches many fish with his hands, impressing Kaede. They collect their haul, and Yuya thinks about Luna's advice. Meanwhile, in a distant town, Luna continues her work as an assassin, cutting off puppet heads. Despite her harsh lifestyle, she reflects on her time with Yuya, wishing things could be different. Back at camp, the students begin preparing their food. Kaede and Rin are impressed by the haul, while Akira complains after being used as a decoy by Rin. Yuya's group is the first to bring in a large amount of edible food, and their teacher praises them. She also informs them they'll be graded on their cooking, and everyone immediately points to Yuya. After preparing an impressive meal, Yuya is praised by his classmates and even the teacher, who is surprised by his cooking skills. Later, Sawada, the teacher, jokingly asks Yuya to marry her, saying she can't cook or clean, and believes he's perfect for her. Her proposal catches everyone off guard, and while Yuya is embarrassed, Sawada insists. Yuya tries to be polite but gets nervous. Meanwhile, his classmates continue to tease him, and Akira expresses jealousy. Later that night, Yuya teleports back to check on Knight, feeding him and thinking about how much he enjoys making others happy. He teleports back to camp, where the students are enjoying a group shower. Everyone stares at Yuya, and he wonders what's going on. Akira points out how ridiculous his body looks, and Yuya wonders what's wrong with it, but Akira is actually amazed by how good-looking he is, along with being insanely ripped. Meanwhile, in the girls' bathroom, Rin teases Kaede, saying all the boys must be into her, but they run into Kaori. The girls mention that Sawada wanted to marry Yuya, which surprises Kaori, and they think Sawada has a certain advantage. Kaede seems inspired to make a move on Yuya, while Kaori wonders if she is interested in him. But Kaede quickly denies it. Rin thinks Kaede is too obvious, but Kaori wonders about Yuya's preferences in girls. The next morning, some students find their belongings trashed, and wonder if it was a thief. Akira looks worried while Yuya checks that all their belongings are still there. The group decides to look for breakfast, but Akira gets scared when he sees scratch markings on a tree. Yuya remembers what Akira said about luring away bears, and realizes what's going on as he looks around. Suddenly, the bear appears before the girls, and they quickly run away. The bear chases after them, and all the students panic. Sawada signals the group to take cover. The bear runs into the table, and Sawada tells everyone to get to safety. As they run, Sawada falls, and the bear lunges at her, but Yuya jumps in to protect her. He wrestles with the bear, throwing it to the ground and knocking it out. He checks on Sawada, who tells him she would normally lecture him about fighting a bear, but since he saved her life, she decides to let him off the hook and even offers to marry him again. Yuya politely declines. He wonders what will happen to the bear, and Kaori explains they will keep it as a guard bear. If it attacks people again, they'll just eat him. The bear seems to understand, and the issue is resolved. The camping trip ends. Back at his house, Yuya is scheduled to meet the king in the other world. On the way, he finds a group of demons in the forest. Thinking it would be bad if Lexia's group ran into them, he decides to take them out. Knight slashes at one of them, and Yuya throws his spear, but the demon catches it, Yuya switches to a hammer, squashing the demon completely, clearing the area around him and impressing the sage with his weapons. The demon drops an interesting-looking helmet, and Yuya tries it on. He notices a strange rabbit watching him, thinking he is the one, but Lexia's party arrives. Owen is worried when he sees Yuya and quickly realizes it's because of the helmet. Yuya takes it off, and everyone is glad to see him again. They ask if he's ready to meet the king and invite him to join them at the palace. However, Night suddenly jumps on Lexia as a tree falls. Yuya slashes the tree in half, noticing the threads Luna would use, and realizes Night was protecting the princess. Owen wonders what's going on. Meanwhile, Luna curses herself for failing. She tries to get away but is attacked by Yuya and knocked out. Yuya is surprised to see it's really Luna. Lexia joins him, asking who she is. Yuya explains that Luna tried to attack her and realizes Night knew all along. Yuya asks to heal Luna's wounds and take her back to his house to find out what's going on. Not wanting to believe she's a bad person, Lexia agrees. Alan rushes over, telling her not to run off, but Lexia tells him she is going to visit Yuya's house. Yuya wonders if she's sure, and Lexia says she is curious about why she was attacked and about Yuya's relationship with Luna. They use Yuya's teleportation to get back faster, leaving Owen behind. Lexia is surprised by the teleportation, and they wait for Luna to wake up. Yuya explains how he met Luna and trained with her, but Lexia is more interested in the teleportation spell. Yuya says he created it by thinking about using magic for transportation. Lexia can't believe him and tells him that teleportation magic is considered a fairy tale. No one has been confirmed to use it. She warns him that if anyone finds out, it could lead to a war, making him promise not to use it in front of others without thinking. Suddenly, Lexia calls out Luna, who pretends to sleep. Luna wakes up, realizing she's been caught. Lexia points out that Yuya also knew she was faking but was just being nice. Lexia asks about her story, but Luna thinks there's no point in explaining and tells her to kill her instead. Yuya also asks, and Luna opens up about being an orphan who scavenged to survive. She was eventually taken in by a man who taught her to read, write, and assassinate. She joined a dark guild and became known as the Headhunter. Lexia is surprised by the name, having heard of it. Yuya wonders if Night knew all along, and it makes sense that he was aggressive toward her. Luna reveals her mission was to assassinate Lexia, but now that she has failed, her death is guaranteed. Either she'll be executed, or the Dark Guild will send assassins after her. Yuya expresses concern for her, but Luna wonders why he cares since their time together was brief. Yuya says their short time together meant a lot, and he sees her as a friend. Luna thinks it's too late for her, but Lexia interrupts, offering her a chance to work for her as her bodyguard. Since only she and Yuya know about the assassination attempt, they can keep it secret. Lexia insists that if Luna becomes her guard, it will be harder for the Dark Guild to get to her. Luna objects, thinking she's a criminal with blood on her hands from the people she's killed. But Lexia reassures her, telling her she has pretty hands, which are soft thanks to Yuya's bath. Luna continues to decline, but Lexia insists, saying, since Luna failed to kill her, she is the loser and must follow her orders. Luna reluctantly accepts the job. Meanwhile, Alan and his men are retreating from goblins. His soldiers can't go on, so they leave Lexia's protection to Yuya. Luna can't believe how things turned out, thinking Lexia is a tyrant. Her first order is to hear more about Yuya's bath. Luna explains that Yuya has a rare bath item that can create a bath anywhere, helping with recovery and beauty. Lexia is intrigued and demands to use it. She then invites Luna to join her for a bath, but Yuya nervously declines. The girls enjoy the bath together, and Lexia suddenly asks if Luna likes Yuya. Luna denies it, saying they are just friends. Lexia insists she can tell Luna likes him, but Luna denies it. Lexia declares her plan to marry Yuya, and Luna objects. Lexia points out that if they were just friends, Luna shouldn't mind. Luna isn't sure how she feels, but Lexia issues a declaration of war, saying they'll both fight for Yuya, and she'll win. Luna is confused, but accepts the challenge. After their bath, Yuya decides to cook dinner. Lexia offers to cook, but struggles with a potato, even losing her knife. Yuya ends up cooking the meal, and the girls find it delicious. Lexia compliments him, but Luna gets jealous and asks Yuya to feed her, claiming her arms aren't fully healed. Yuya agrees but smirks at Lexia, who also demands to be fed. Yuya complies, though she's not injured. At night, the girls sleep together, and Yuya thinks it was a good time. The next day, they meet Owen and his men. Yuya apologizes for leaving him behind, and Owen wonders about their companions. Yuya introduces Knight again, and Owen thanks him for saving Lexia. He then wonders about Luna's identity. Lexia bluntly reveals to the group that she was once an assassin, sent to kill Luna, but is now assigned to be her guard. Everyone is shocked by this confession, with Luna particularly stunned by how quickly Lexia disclosed her secret. Owen, concerned for Luna's safety, immediately orders Lexia to be surrounded, but she calmly tells him that if Luna had wanted to kill her, she would already be dead. Eventually, Alan gives in, but insists they will keep an eye on her. Yuya interrupts the moment, explaining he can't accompany them to the palace due to the delay at the house. He needs to return to school and feels there isn't enough time for the trip. Owen tells him to visit whenever he can, directing him to a village where he can get directions to the capital. Lexia says her goodbyes, urging him to visit soon, but Luna suddenly runs back and kisses Yuya, thanking him for everything. This leaves Lexia devastated, and she demands to go back, wanting to kiss him too. Owen, however, pretends not to hear and continues leading the group. As Yuya reflects on the kiss, he wonders if Luna has feelings for him. To clear his mind, he takes a bath and is surprised by a strange creature that sneaks in. A notification pops up, confirming he has tamed it. The creature, while confused, accepts this new relationship, and Yuya checks its stats. He learns that his appraisal skill has leveled up, allowing him to see the creature's skills, one of which is called Holy Ground. The creature creates a field of light around them, granting Yuya a buff. Impressed, Yuya names it Akatsuki. Yuya rushes back to school as the class participates in a ball game competition, with results affecting their bonus. The first event is soccer, where Yuya plays as goalkeeper. Despite not knowing the rules, his teammate Ryo proves to be a powerhouse, taking on the opposing team and scoring a point. Kaede, impressed by Ryo's skills, is caught off guard when Rin distracts the opposing team with a plan to steal the ball. Akira capitalizes on the opportunity and makes a shot, but Yuya stops it effortlessly, leaving everyone stunned by his unexpected skill. After school, a modeling agency approaches Yuya, inviting him to join the industry. However, he quickly declines, explaining that he's already enjoying his time at school. Meet, another agency representative, tries to convince him, but Yuya explains his past experience working with her on a magazine cover. Meanwhile, a poster for a sports competition lands nearby, and Kaede chases after it. The agency chief, seeing potential for a story, decides to pitch an article about the school, planning to photograph Yuya during the event. Back in the other world, Yuya defeats a skeleton monster, but feels like he's not growing stronger. Determined, he ventures deeper into the forest and encounters hard black trees that seem indestructible. Yuya wonders how Akatsuki grew so large, only to discover that Akatsuki has been following him. He's suddenly attacked by a mithril boar, and although Yuya tries to heal, the boar keeps attacking. Just as things seem dire, a strange rabbit named Usagi appears and easily destroys the boar, leaving Yuya in awe of his strength. Usagi teaches Yuya some advanced techniques, and Yuya begins training to improve his skills. Yuya struggles with the new techniques but eventually manages to destroy a tree. After more sparring, Usagi explains that he's a divine, a title given to those who master a certain field. As the divine kicker, Usagi's job is to protect the world from the vile, beings representing the negative aspects of the world. Though Yuya initially refuses to become Usagi's disciple, he begins to consider the importance of protecting his friends, like Knight and Akatsuki. Eventually, Yuya agrees to continue training, with Usagi asking to learn magic in return for his knowledge. Yuya's training intensifies as he faces off against King Mithril Boar again. Using his new skills, he manages to defeat it, collecting several SS-ranked items. Usagi explains that there are even stronger monsters, such as the X-ranked and legendary Vile, who pose an even greater threat. Yuya then gets a notification about evolving, and as he glows with energy, he realizes he's gained several new skills. The next day, Yuya participates in a table tennis competition, where his opponent, the national champion known as the Sniper, delivers a devastating serve. Although Yuya manages to return it, he forfeits the match to avoid injuring anyone. The photographers are disappointed, as Yuya's speed was too much for them to capture. Later, Kaede drags him into a volleyball game after one of the players is injured. The opposing team quickly gives up when Yuya's power causes the ball to pop and the court to be destroyed. The chief, once again distracted, misses the shot. Later, Kaori walks home with Yuya, thanking him for his help in the tennis match. She offers to treat him to food, but Yuya, simply happy with her company, insists there's no need for a reward. However, Kaori unexpectedly kisses him, leaving Yuya stunned. Meanwhile, in the other world, Usagi battles one of the Vile, using magic to defend himself, which surprises the girl watching as he shouldn't be able to use magic. She decides Yuya is a greater threat and plans to deal with him next. The modeling agency chief reviews the photos from the school event, pleased with how well they turned out. She anticipates high magazine sales, but her subordinate worries that other agencies will now pursue Yuya. Unfazed, the chief has a plan to ensure Yuya won't be able to refuse joining their agency. Meanwhile, back at Yuya's house, he and Kaori study together. She thanks him for helping her with math, and Yuya credits his language comprehension skill for making English easy to understand. In a flashback, Yuya recalls how Kaori suggested studying together, as he was worried about his upcoming exams. The two walk home, and Kaori meets Akatsuki for the first time, finding both his pets adorable. Later, as Kaori asks to use the restroom, she inadvertently finds the door to the other world. Yuya, concerned, quickly explains the door's connection to another world full of monsters and magic. He shows her his magical abilities, and offers to give her a tour of the other world. After taking her hand, they cross over together. Kori is surprised to discover that there is indeed another world, and Yuya explains that both Night and Akatsuki come from this realm. He tells her that Night is a Fenrir, which is like a wolf, and Akatsuki is similar to a pig, though Akatsuki gets offended upon hearing this. Kari's status window suddenly appears, and Yuya explains that abilities in this world are represented by stats. He is shocked to see that her starting stats are much higher than his own when he started, remembering how he only had 1 point in each stat. He shares how he leveled up in this world, which led to a complete change in his appearance, making him feel as though he cheated. He doubts he would have been accepted by everyone otherwise. Kari changes the subject, asking if she can see more of the world. Yuya mentions that it is dangerous outside the barrier of his house, but agrees to show her more sometime. She insists on a pinky promise, and Yuya asks her to keep his secret, making her feel closer to him. Meanwhile, in the capital, Lexia returns to the palace, and the king wonders why Union isn't with her. Owen explains that their plans had changed, and the king suspects it has something to do with Luna. Luna admits that she tried to assassinate Lexia, causing the king to grab his sword in anger and prepare to execute her. However, he stops, acknowledging her skill, since she managed to stop his sword with her arms. Lexia angrily defends Luna, telling her father that she was the one who chose her as a guard and would hate him if he harmed her. The king, devastated by this, reluctantly recognizes Luna as one of Lexia's guards. He then asks Owen for more details about Luna, who reveals that she was once known as the headhunter for the Dark Guild. The king wonders how all of this connects to Yuya, and Owen explains that Yuya was the one who caught Luna and brought both Luna and Lexia back to his house. Hearing that Lexia stayed at a man's house causes the king to go on a rampage, thinking of how he wants to kill Yuya. Owen tries to reassure him, saying that nothing happened, but the king remains suspicious. Meanwhile, the masked man who had once tried to kill Lexia is revealed to be the first prince, Rhaegar. His subordinate informs him that a noble had hired Luna to assassinate Lexia, but the attempt failed due to Yuya's interference, and Luna had even become Lexia's guard. The subordinate also mentions that Yuya was invited to the palace, which gives Rhaegar an idea. He gives his subordinate a secret weapon, a magic sealing barrier that disables all magic within its range. This would render the king's guards powerless, leaving only Owen and Luna to deal with. Rhaegar's subordinate expresses concern about the plan being exposed if it fails, but Rhaegar is confident they could pin the blame on Yuya when he visits. Yuya gets an extra day off after the academy's competition and decides to visit the capital. He does some farming and defeats a sheep monster, which drops several items, including a rare betting item that guarantees the best sleeping experience. On his way to the nearby town, Yuya is surprised to find cat girls in this world. He heads to the guild to trade, but since he doesn't have any money, the guildmaster finds his name strange and asks where he is from. Yuya explains he's from a small island, and the master assumes he must be a noble based on his appearance. Yuya insists he's just an ordinary guy, but the master doesn't quite believe him. The master is amazed when he sees Yuya's item box skill, and is especially impressed by the high-quality peppers Yuya takes out. He offers to buy all of them for 100 gold coins, and Yuya wonders if that's a lot, admitting he doesn't know the currency's value. The master explains that an average family could live comfortably on 5 gold coins per year, so 100 gold would sustain a family for 20 years. The master also gives Yuya a guild card for identification. Yuya then asks how to get to the capital, and the master tells him about a stagecoach that goes straight there. When Yuya arrives, he's amazed by the number of people. Akatsuki points toward the palace, and Yuya starts to worry about feeling out of place. He heads to the palace and is greeted by Owen, who informs him that they're going straight to see the king. Yuya panics, thinking he is unprepared, but Owen reassures him, saying it's just an informal audience. At the palace, Lexia and Luna are waiting inside the chamber, and Yuya pays his respects to the king. The king immediately brings up how Lexia proposed to Yuya, causing him to lose his temper, believing Yuya seduced his daughter. Owen manages to calm the king down, but he remains unimpressed with Yuya for not bringing a gift for Lexia. Yuya quickly presents the bedding set he obtained from the sheep, which flatters Lexia but makes the king even angrier, thinking Yuya is trying to seduce her in front of him. Owen tries to explain that Yuya wasn't aware of their customs, but Lexia explains that giving bedding as a gift signifies wanting to marry and share a bed with the recipient. Yuya realizes his mistake, and the king prepares to strike him down. However, they are suddenly attacked by assassins. The king orders his guards to fire, but one of the assailants activates a magic ceiling barrier, disabling the arrows. The assassins attack, but Yuya, with Knight's help, easily defeats them. Lexia hugs him in gratitude, but Luna becomes jealous and tries to pull her away, while the king glares at Yuya. Owen discovers an emblem on one of the assassins, realizing that the first prince, Rhaegar, was behind the attack. News of the attack spreads among the guards, and the king locks himself in his room. Yuya contemplates what to do next when Owen asks for his help in keeping Lexia safe. Yuya sets out to find Lexia and hesitates before entering her room. She suddenly appears and suggests they explore the capital, as it's Yuya's first time there. Luna reminds Lexia of the dangers, but Lexia insists that if more assassins are sent, Rhaegar would be revealing his location. Luna reluctantly agrees with Lexia's assessment, but knows Lexia only wants to get outside. She suggests that Lexia should stay at the castle while she shows Yuya around. Lexia refuses to let them be alone together, and Alan offers to show Yuya around instead, but both girls reject his idea. Eventually, both girls go with Yuya, while Alan watches from a distance. Lexia wants to take Yuya to the jeweler's, but Luna has other plans, and the two girls argue over him, causing a commotion. People around them begin to think that Yuya must be some sort of noble, having two beauties with him. As they walk around the city, Yuya expresses interest in the Adventurers Guild. He mentions how he registered with the Merchants Guild while on his way to the capital. Luna suggests he should register with the Adventurers Guild as well, since he hunts monsters often. This would help him trade monster materials and even earn money from quests. Lexia doesn't like the idea, but Luna proposes she could register too. Despite Lexia's objections, Luna insists that Yuya will probably be too busy to do quests with her. They meet the clerk, Amelia, who gives them their application forms. Yuya fills out the forms, but there's a question about his magical abilities. He decides not to mention he can use all types of magic, including teleportation, and only lists wind, fire, and water. The next question asks about his magical power, and Amelia explains that they use a crystal ball to measure magical energy. She says adventurers usually keep their stats secret, which is why they don't use status windows. Luna measures her energy, making the ball glow yellow, and comments that she's never been good with magic. When it's Yuya's turn, the ball shatters, shocking everyone. Amelia thinks it might be a mistake and tests him again, but the result is the same. Yuya apologizes, wondering if he should pay for the damage, but Amelia reassures him that it's fine. She looks over their applications and is stunned when she sees Yuya can use 3 different types of magic. Yuya is concerned and wonders if there's a problem, but Amelia explains that being able to use 3 types of magic places him among the legendary figures from fairy tales. She marvels at his potential, further raising Yuya's anxiety as he realizes how much he has hidden about his abilities. Lexia admires Yuya, thinking he is amazing, while Yuya is simply relieved he didn't reveal all the magic he can use. Amelia processes their applications through a machine, generating their guild cards. She explains that as new adventurers, they start at F rank, and can progress at their own pace, though she warns them to avoid over-harvesting during item-gathering quests to ensure the plants can regrow. The group checks the quest board, contemplating their first task. Suddenly, Yuya is approached by a woman named Glenda, who expresses interest in teaming up with him after seeing him destroy the measuring crystal. The girls try to pull her away, mentioning she's had too much to drink. Glenda leaves, but not before expressing hope to see Yuya again. Lexia reconsiders joining the guild, feeling the need to protect Yuya from other women. Luna advises her to think about Owen, who already struggles to control her. They head out for their first quest, gathering herbs, and Yuya is surprised to find that his discernment skill provides detailed harvesting instructions. Luna struggles to avoid damaging the roots, while Lexia enjoys the task and suggests a competition with Luna. Whoever collects the more valuable herbs wins a full day with Yuya. Owen reminds them not to over-harvest, and the group disperses. Yuya, left alone, discovers a mana healing plant, while Nakasuki finds a dangerous poisonous one. The girls return with their herbs, and Yuya starts examining them, but Owen suddenly arrives, revealing that they have located the first prince and need Yuya's help. The group splits, with Lexia and Luna heading back to the castle, while Yuya and Owen continue. They arrive at an abandoned house, where they find the prince threatening a guard. The prince is surrounded by knights, but he refuses to give up, threatening to take his own life. Yuya intervenes, and the prince is subdued. Just as the situation seems under control, an explosion shatters the house, and the prince is confronted by a woman from the vial. She reveals that she never intended to help him become king, but rather used him to start wars. The prince, realizing he was betrayed, is about to be killed. Alan tries to intervene, but an arrow strikes him, and the group is bombarded by more arrows. Despite the girls' ability to predict their movements, Yuya uses his magic to deflect the arrows, saving them. The girl retreats, recognizing Yuya as the one she's been searching for. The prince, Rhaegar, is brought before the king, revealing his body covered in scars. Lexia is troubled, knowing she is responsible for his injuries after losing control of her magic. Rhaegar, driven mad by the pain, urges the king to kill him, blaming his father for abandoning him. Yuya, however, offers to help, using a healing juice made from the legendary cure-all herb, which completely heals Rhaegar's scars. The king is shocked, but Yuya downplays the rarity of the herb, mentioning he grows it in his garden. Rhaegar laughs, believing his death sentence is still inevitable despite being healed. The king shares that Rhaegar committed several crimes, including attempting to kill him. However, Lexia pardons him, and the king reluctantly agrees. Rhaegar is spared and instead given the title of Lord Knight, along with land and a mansion. Yuya heads to his room to rest, falling asleep almost immediately, but dreams of fighting the mysterious girl. He wakes up the next day, his mind focused on her, and rushes off after class, eager to train in the other world. Yuya's training is interrupted when the girl attacks him again, revealing she seeks revenge. Meanwhile, Kari visits his house to study with him, but is caught in the blast of an explosion as the girl launches arrows at Yuya. He attempts to shield Kari, but the girl's attack grows stronger. Just as things seem dire, Usagi arrives, stopping the attack and revealing the girl's identity: Yuri, the divine archer's disciple, who seeks vengeance for the death of her master. Yuri believes Yuya represents everything her master fought against. As they battle, Yuya mimics a move from Usagi to create an opening, allowing Usagi to land a kick on Yuri. Yuri, refusing to give up on her revenge, activates her vile powers, but Akatsuki intervenes, activating his Holy Ground skill to weaken her. With her power diminished, Yuya knocks her out. Usagi explains that, besides the divine, there are also holy beasts, like Akatsuki, who stand against the vile. He says Yuri's powers should be suppressed and leaves her for Yuya to handle. Kaori, who has been watching, is shocked as Yuya defeats a monster with a single shot. She wonders if she's scared of him, but Yuya admits to leveling up in the other world, and feels like a cheater. He worries she might not like him anymore. However, Kari reassures him, saying he hasn't changed since the first time she was saved by him. She's always liked him, no matter what, and that's how this story comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed the recap. If you're craving more epic anime tales in less time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me for the next adventure. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.